Meteorologist QC Cloud back with you late on this Wednesday, tracking a new severe thunderstorm warning. Another one popping on up here. Parts of Atkinson, Bacon, Coffee, and Work counties under this warning until 11 o'clock. Now, Bacon not in our covered area, but Atkinson, Coffee, and Ware within our zone that we do cover. So that's why we're on with you right now, because there's some rotation with this as well. So if the rotation were to intensify, a tornado warning may be required here to be issued by the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. Right now, it maybe looks kind of broad in nature here. Might have been just a little bit stronger a few scans ago. As we kind of back that on up, you see our tornado vortex signature there. But it's kind of more broad right at this moment. But you do see some maybe stronger winds trying to translate here, maybe to more about 60 miles an hour or so in that bluish looking color there as we kind of get within this range. So that could be translating down toward the surface a little bit as we get here closer toward. Yeah, it looks like as they get in even tighter, some of these roads not showing up, but State Route 158, one of these areas within this warning, so that's something to keep in mind. I know we're just going to be monitoring the progress of things here this evening and to the overnight hours here in the Weather Center as yet another warning has popped up on this marginal risk day. We talked about that marginal risk likely being issued here for today back yesterday, and we saw that come to fruition. We've seen a pretty good grouping of warnings here at this point issued for parts of our area, including a tornado warning that was in play for parts of Atkinson as well as even into areas of Coffee County a little while ago. As we just got a report in there out of the Peachtree City office, as I go ahead and go back on over to the reflectivity mode, they're saying in Telfair County, about 4 miles southwest of Scotland there, emergency management reported a tornado touchdown, a brief one, on Highway 149. About 8:55, an ATV was thrown, an unknown structure was damaged, possibly an outbuilding there. So it's something to kind of keep an eye on there in terms of some of that information coming on out of central Georgia. But haven't had any damage reports so far in our area despite all these warnings, but it may take a little while for some of that information to trickle in for the rural nature of things. That plays a role here, of course. So we're just going to go ahead and keep watching things here the next little bit and taking these warnings a little more seriously than we sometimes would, because what I mean by that is in summertime, sometimes things just pop up so much, it's hard to focus on individual warnings. But we have these warnings here in this fall time frame here. We want to focus on them a little bit more because we don't have them as often. They mean a little bit more, to be quite honest. I mean, not that the other ones don't, but especially when these tornado possible tags. We have to be taking that action here to really be protecting yourself, because a tornado warning could be issued with little or no advance warning. A tornado touchdown could occur with little or no advance warning. So, I mean, the ones in summertime definitely can be dangerous. It's just these have the tendency, I mean, when I say they mean more, is they can catch people off guard. So, in summertime, you kind of already know you're going to have that threat, but this time of year, things can really help you in terms of that warning process there. As the warnings are issued, you're able to take protective action. So, again, that's what we're tracking right now. We're at 10:40 on the timeline on the clock here. You can see Dixie Union getting quite a bit of lightning there in northern Ware County right now. The community of Beach as well. Now, Bacon County, outside of our area, there was a gust of 32 miles an hour just a few moments ago there. It looks like the Bacon County Airport. So that's kind of intriguing to see. Not severe by any means, though, which is good. But getting some of that heavier wind action up there. So could be a little bit stronger down here. Could be up to 60 miles an hour here as we're looking towards some of these areas, especially just north of Millwood, it looks like here. Getting closer again towards State Road 158. So that's something to kind of bear in mind here as we're watching things in the live coverage. Just tracking everything as it does evolve here to protect you, your friends, and your family. Been on pretty good bit here now with these cut-ins with this coverage, because it's important to give everybody that latest information here in these type of circumstances, especially when we've already had a tornado warning issued now for parts of South Georgia a little bit earlier on that we were on live for. We were on as that was getting issued. We gave you that warning there, exactly the areas that were included and that weren't included. So let's go ahead and go back over to the other view now. We just did get an update on the warning, and if you kind of know how things go here, you didn't hear the beep this time, and that's a good sign. There's no longer a tornado possible tag in here in this yellow box within this warning. So more just for that wind potential now, the 60-mile-an-hour wind threat By the way, there is now an aerial flood advisory that's been issued for Coffee County until 1:45, so that's kind of intriguing to see. But again, Atkinson, Coffee, and Ware under a severe thunderstorm warning. More for straight line wind potential now until about 11 p.m. So we're watching that. We're tracking all that here for you in the Weather Center. I know toward Alachua County, you see a little bit of lightning there closer toward Interstate 75, but nothing overwhelming. A little bit in Levy County as well, but more of the action here. The bulk of the action really is towards South Georgia at the present time. We have this severe thunderstorm warning in play. As we've been doing here through our coverage today, a couple other warnings in play in other parts of the southeast. We're going to break those down. And by the way, before I say the warnings, they get a warning there, southwest Alabama. That's still inhaled about severe criteria. But then a couple other warnings here. We actually had a tornado warning in Mississippi just a little while ago. But right now we have a severe thunderstorm warning there for parts of it. Looks like Calhoun and Chickasaw County there, depending on how you pronounce that. And as we look off toward the west there, in towards southern Arkansas, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Bradley, Calhoun, and Ouachita counties there. So not Ouachita Parish, that would be toward Monroe, Louisiana, but Ouachita County there in Arkansas. So just want to make sure you guys kind of get an understanding of that. So as we go ahead and watch things, this is a severe thunderstorm watch that's continuing here. It's supposed to expire at 10 o'clock Central, but looks like they've extended that to 11 o'clock. Or, well, it would be 10 o'clock Central, but you kind of get the idea. We've been on for a while with these updates now, so that we're at, of course, 9:43 Central right now, 10:43 Eastern, so another 17 minutes. They may extend it a little longer, we'll see, but nothing in our system's telling us that at this moment. But no watches in our area. We didn't have the logo red. This is not an organized threat here of severe weather. It's that pop-up type threat here. We're not talking about any type of like stronger tornado activity. If we get a tornado to touch down, or have had a tornado to touch down in our area here, we've had that touchdown to occur. It's probably from a weaker type circulation trying to reach down toward the surface. So the threat is not extreme. It's on the lower end of the scale. 1 out of 5 here on the board, as you see in this darker green here. Includes much of South Georgia, a little bit of the Big Bend in there, and we'll watch to see if anything evolves in North Florida here. It's not out of the question that a bigger threat, the more parameters really that are in play for this to develop there in South Georgia. So again, we're just going to keep on monitoring the situation here. I know sputtered, you see some out there, but nothing too close to where our warning is right now. By the way, just for reference, outside of our area, the office in Peachtree City, this is a severe, or excuse me, let me check that, a strong thunderstorm advisory, a significant weather advisory there for Toombs County until 11:15. So a significant weather advisory there until 11:15 for Toombs County there in Georgia. So again, just going to keep watching things, keep monitoring the situation. We'll go ahead and go back on over right now to other mode. You can see some of these brighter greens and these blues even. The Weather Service saying the circulation's weakened, but the severe storm remains at that intensity, and the warning is going to continue because of that. So got to keep that in mind, obviously, here in this live coverage. Monitoring things. I know at times we don't have a lot to talk about because, I mean, honestly, in these type of situations here, it's more a repetitive thing because we want to let new viewers that are tuning in, let them know what's happening really with the storminess here. So that's why we just have to be on here with you, giving you those latest minute-by-minute breakdowns. So we're not 10:45. Again, the lightning here is on the board. And we have some wind energy, but no tornado possible tag right now, so that's some good news. But you see Millwood there, some greens and red, nothing really tight together, though. That's some good news, but we'll just continue to monitor the progress of things here. You see, again, they got to 32 up toward areas there in Bacon County. You see Douglas there, got to 21 or so in our area, and toward Coffee County. So these are not gusts to write home about, but still, there's still important gusts here just to kind of let us know what's happening down toward the surface. Maybe indicative of a situation that won't warrant another warning, but we'll just have to wait and see. It's kind of iffy because some areas may be getting stronger gusts, and we did apparently have a tornado touchdown there outside of our area in Telfair County. So just kind of intriguing to learn that. As I'm looking at some of our power numbers in Georgia, in the Peach State, 2029. or 2,999 customers here in the dark right now. 288 of those in Coffee County, according to PowerOutage.us. None in Atkinson County, though. 5 in Irwin, 79 in Randolph County, 23 in Clay County, Georgia. Decatur County, actually, a few down there. 164 customers. So just kind of running that down for you. And up toward Emmanuel County, 733 customers in the dark. Toward Telfair County there. As we look further up into toward the state of Georgia, none showing up. So that's some good news at least. Can't guarantee, though, that there's none in the whole county. Sometimes not all the electric companies are on here. So that's something to kind of bear in mind. But just with you here in the live severe weather coverage right now, because we want to keep you guys safe and informed. Keep you out ahead of these storms. These storms moving toward areas there in Pierce and further into toward Ware County over the next little bit. Moving east at 20 miles an hour. So we just have to kind of continue here to watch the progression here of the activity. Continue to see how things are coming together here in this type of circumstance. So, again, just you see Patterson there, you see Blacks here, you see, of course, Dixie Union, even earlier on in the timeline, going to be getting into some of this accent. So that's something to kind of deal with there. So we're still watching things. I think we're going to take a quick break here in the coverage. We're going to keep streaming. Get a new information. Be back in about 5 minutes or so with more. So just stay tuned here. We're watching things for you here in the Weather Center. Just going to catch our breath for just a moment here as we're watching things. And even as I broaden the view out real quick, I mean, look toward north central Florida. Nothing severe or strong, but a little bit of lightning showing up toward Alachua and Levy as we reference. Even some heavier rain for western Bradford County showing up as well for our viewers here toward north central Florida. So we'll keep you advised. Be back here in just a few moments. Back here in the Weather Center with another update, 10:53 on this Wednesday. You can see that yellow box in South Florida. That's a severe thunderstorm warning continuing about another 7 minutes or so for parts of Atkinson, Bacon, Coffee, and Ware counties. Our area, we're talking about Atkinson, Coffee, and Ware, Bacon, not in the coverage area. But we've seen these storms here. We've seen quite a few warnings pop up on us. So something to kind of be mindful of for sure. Definitely have to be mindful of that here. To see if there's any severe potential to actually come to fruition in our area. Not so far. Nothing has been reported anyway here, but we did get a report outside of our area in Telfair County of a brief tornado touching down, it seems, toward the community of Scotland there. Highway 149, trees down, ATV thrown, so some structural damage, it seems. So that's something kind of intriguing. Looks like they're going to go and issue a new warning here in our area now. This is coming down off the chat session here. New severe thunderstorm warning now to 11:30 for parts of Atkinson, Bacon, Coffee, Pearson, Ware. And they're saying here in the chat there's another severe thunderstorm warning downstream across US 1 over Pearson, northern Ware County, north of Waycross, but not including Waycross as the elevated core within the storm remains persistent. So have to be mindful of that here in our northern area. The new severe thunderstorm warning now until 11:30. So we're staying with you here with the coverage on the different streams on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch. So that's what it's all about here, trying to keep you guys out ahead of the storms. And a new warning now being issued further downstream, just a little bit, honestly. As I look at my other source, and you see it now on your source here as well, it's not all that far out ahead of things at this point. I know they're talking about it being north of Waycross, but actually it's kind of just it does include Waycross to some extent, more west of Waycross at this point. So we'll just have to wait and see here how this progresses. This could hang around a while if it's moving slow as that indicates. It says east of 35 though with the warning. So honestly, then that warning, maybe they should have put it over just a little bit further in here as we're looking. But interesting to see that. Maybe they don't think it's going to hang together too much longer there in the worded timeline. So we'll just wait and see. Maybe they don't think it's going to hold together past that eastern boundary there of the box, the new box they issued, but we're not really sure. We'll just continue to watch it, obviously, and give you the latest updates. So that's where we're tracking things right now. We're going to go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. Again, in our covered area, that's the only area where we have a couple warnings. Outside of the region, we have a couple more warnings here. One towards southern parts of Arkansas, another in northwestern western Mississippi, I guess you would call it northwestern Mississippi there, Bolivar County. And then for this national standpoint type update, we're talking about Bradley, Calhoun, and Ouachita counties in Arkansas. So kind of a wide stretching lower type severe risk, a little bit higher toward our north and west, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Really, we have that slight risk in play, but the 1 out of 5 marginal risk definitely coming to fruition with these warnings being issued at least toward our area. Not sure about any of the damage reports, but I just have to be kind of mindful how things are going here as we continue along with our progression on the coverage. So we're just tracking everything here for you. You see Dixie Union, some of the stronger wind movement in there. You see Waresboro moving the next little bit, but right now Millwood getting into some of this. So that's what we're tracking this action at the current moment. But we're just going to have to see how it holds together. Maybe toward Blackshear over the next little bit. Just something to kind of be tracking here. You see our radar, I pushed it back in time, and then I kind of loop it around. Let's go ahead and actually, we're going to go ahead and loop it. So let's go ahead and just take off some things. This is from earlier, and then let me go ahead and take off our significant weather advisories as well. So we'll loop this. You kind of see we had that tornado warning in Atkinson and Coffee counties earlier on. You can see how things have been progressing here. You can kind of see the overall progression of things as the storms moving off toward the east, and in some cases a little bit of a northerly component of the latest warning. They're kind of still more of a southerly component there to some extent here to where the box has been issued. So kind of intriguing there from that standpoint, but just have to keep on tracking things. Here I'm going to go ahead and put on our significant weather advisory boxes again as we continue along with the coverage here at 10:58. And you can see there west of Dixie Union, maybe winds. I mean, that's still on winds near 60 on that scan. The latest scan closer to 50 though as this gets closer toward Dixie Union there in Ware County. So You guys are having to deal with that there. That stronger wind, the heavier rain, the lightning around. I mean, you don't want to have to deal with it, in general. I mean, you may be getting some rain that you want, but I mean, otherwise you don't really want to have to deal with a thunderstorm, obviously. But that's just the nature of things here. We get these little waves of energy, if you want to call it that here. This time of year, it's not something that's as widespread in terms of the timeline. We're not getting storms every day like we do toward the summertime, but we're still getting these storms here to become severe in little waves and stretches here. So that's what we have to deal with right now. 10:59, almost 11 here. If you're tuning in, if you're getting ready to go to bed here, we're still with you because we have to just keep everybody out ahead of things. The brighter colors here on our velocity mode indicate stronger winds trying to get down toward the surface here. So that can definitely be a problematic factor. So we just have to continue to watch everything here. We just have to see how things go in the overall genesis of the actual storms, of this little cluster of storms. They're calling it more of just a severe thunderstorm versus a line of severe thunderstorms here at this point. But at 10:54, a severe thunderstorm was located 9 miles northeast of Cogdale, or 13 miles north of Argyle, moving east at 35 miles an hour. Areas in and around Waycross, Jamestown, Pebble Hill, Dixie Union, Mowood, and Bickley are included. So I just got to be watching this all here. Make sure that you're trying to stay away from those windows because those winds can be kind of aggressive here at times. Obviously nothing like what they saw in Hurricane Ian towards southwest Florida, but still can cause a little bit of damage here. And just have to be ready to just make sure you are away from areas where damage is occurring. You want to make sure you're inside and really just away from those windows. So you see a rogue lightning strike toward Patterson. That's always dangerous when you have those bolts away from the worst of the storm, and as people can get caught off guard, and that's especially in the summertime, how people can get struck by lightning and tragically lose their lives. That has happened here this year in Florida, for instance. So always have to be cognizant of that, obviously, of that potential. But right now, we're looking at this. You see the upscale growth. There's some of that here closer to Ward. State Route 520. I know this is not something we see all that often here, but US 82, some storm growth there in that area, maybe. And then Echo Tops here, you can see getting up pretty high up there. This is showing 48,000 feet. I mean, it depends. 47,000. I thought I saw 48. There we go. In there, but just something that's indicating how this storm is pretty aggressive in nature. So, I mean, in the summertime, you look for the storms to kind of collapse. This isn't collapsing, obviously, as quick. I mean, it's more persistent. Persistent core. Here's what the weather service is calling what we're dealing with right now here. So, just have to be kind of watching everything here. I know from time to time I kind of lose my voice a little because we've been on for so long at this point, but we just want everybody to be watching these warnings because things can definitely be kind of nasty here as we're looking toward that micro scale level. So let's go ahead now and go to a temperature map. We have this up on the other source right now, so let's go ahead and take it. You can kind of see here temperatures cool toward Oklahoma and northern Arkansas, Missouri, but Texas, I mean, they're in the 80s. Parts of Texas right now, you see the storms, I mean, 60s, 70s, 80s even. Out further over, 80 in Greenville, Mississippi right now. That's really warm here as we're tracking things. I know, just continuing to watch the overall situation. I know we just got some new information, it looks like, out of the Peachtree City office there. Let me double check that. I don't think it came across in the chat. Actually, okay, that's not the Peachtree City office. I apologize. That's the Charleston office now because we're kind of transitioning over a little bit, so that's why we don't have that up in the chat. But it's a bit thunderstorm morning now. As we're getting closer to Ward, it looks like the Reedsville area, Glenville, in East Central Georgia, I guess you could call it. Southeast Georgia is what they're calling it. They're saying the wind threat has been observed. So let's see. I'll punch into the chat real quick there. See if they have some type of wind speed here that tells us what we're dealing with here. Maybe we got a gust on an anemometer or something like that. It doesn't say in the warning, but I mean, it does say it's been observed though. So let me check the Charleston chat room here. So they're just saying observed. They don't have any context to that right now, but that's a severe thunderstorm warning there until about 11:45 outside of our coverage area there. Again, Reedsville and Glenville there. northeast of Baxley for perspective here for maybe our local viewers, and north of Jessup. But in our area right now, we have this warning here west of Waycross, moving on in toward Waycross here. Coffee, Pierce, Atkinson, Ware, and Bacon just outside the area. A 1054, the thunderstorm was located 9 miles northeast of Cogdale, or 13 miles north of Argyle, moving east here about 35 miles an hour. 60-mile-an-hour wind gust and Penny-sized hail. The potential threats: Waycross, Jamestown, Pebble Hill, Dixie Union, Millwood, and Bickley under this. So just have to continue to watch the progression of things. It seems like stuff's a little more tame towards southwest Georgia and kind of south central Georgia as well. As we look at some things, our surface-based cape values are indicative of that, really. The more tame atmosphere up that way and the lower severe threat. But southeast Georgia and North Florida, we still have a threat here that seems like it can come into fruition with the energy around. I mean, the shear, as we look at things, a little more robust toward the north. As we're watching, I mean, you see some storms in North Florida, but the energy in terms of some of these different values here not coming together as much. I mean, the energy is here in terms of the cape values, but I'm talking about the actual rotational energy and the storm energy, the wind energy here, not as aggressive toward the south here at this point. So we're still with you. It's about protecting you, your friends, and your family. Thanks so much for tuning in on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, wherever you're watching this coverage. We're on several platforms to give you that flexibility here in options here to watch the coverage, because we know it's important. Whether you're on the go here and trying to find out things while you have a little break there. I mean, maybe you're on a trip and you're by the side of the road just grabbing something to eat real quick and you're tuning into the coverage. I mean, you're just trying to get the latest information on how things are setting up around Waycross there right now in Ware County. Here on this Wednesday night, you see Dixie Union. That's some stronger winds showing up there now. That's actually pretty high, 63, 64 miles an hour showing up on some of our modes now. So that could be reaching down there and causing a little bit of damage around Dixie Union there in Ware County. So you have to be cognizant of that. I know new significant weather advisory just recently issued for parts of Appling, Bacon, Pierce, and Wayne counties here. That goes into 11:45 for some strong thunderstorm activity as we get a little bit further up toward the north. But here in our area, we have this one yellow box that we're hanging on to until 11:30. At least that's the timeline set up right now. So we're still doing with this. We're monitoring it, obviously. I mean, in theory, if this were to hold together for a while longer, moving east at 35 miles an hour, because it's just barely south enough. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but if it did happen, I mean, in theory, we could be with you for a while here. I mean, 35 miles an hour, that could be another hour and a half before it were to get to the coast there, based on some of our tracking behind the scenes. So we'll just have to continue to watch things in that regard. But you have that yellow box continuing. I think we're going to take another break, though, because we just don't have a lot of new information coming in here right now. But as I say that, we did just get a continuance of that severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Bacon, Pierce, and Ware, but it dropped Atkinson and Coffee out now. So that's some good news for those folks there. But we're still watching things toward Pierce and Ware in our coverage area until about 11:30. So they're giving us that latest information right now, that latest text of the warning here. It's always important to get. Pass along. You can also get that at Cloud_WX on Twitter, but the automated account there. But 11:06, they said the thunderstorm was located near Pebble Hill, or 8 miles northwest of Waycross, moving east at 35 miles an hour. So close to, if not in, parts of Waycross, Jamestown, Pebble Hill, Dixie Union, and Bickley through 11:30, with 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and penny-sized hail. The predominant threat related 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. That's what we're talking about when we have the severe criteria possibly being met. So we'll be back here soon with more. We'll take a, let's see, it's 11:08 right now. Let's go ahead and take a 5-minute break and we'll see you soon. Back here in the Weather Center at 11:13 on this Wednesday. We've been with you for a while now with these different streams, giving you the latest updates on the storm threats here. We still have that severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect here until about 11:30 or so for parts of Ware County as well as Pierce County here in our area, Bacon County not in our area, but we'll just kind of to see if things kind of get extended further across here, Ware and into further areas of Pierce County off toward the east. That's a possibility. We'll see what happens. I see an aerial flood advisory just came out there for parts of Appling, Atkinson, Bacon, Coffee, and Ware though until 2:15 because you can have some flooding there in some of those poor drainage areas. So that's something to kind of be concerned about here as we continue to watch and continue to monitor things. You see a lot of lightning there right now as we're looking toward the south of Dixie Union. Even a little bit of that wind energy still creeping on up on us here as we're getting towards some of these areas. So just have to be kind of ready for that potential here. I know when we're talking about being ready for that potential, yesterday we gave you the heads up here on the different platforms. About 10 o'clock last night we thought we could get some warnings. We could get some rogue severe storms. We've had quite a few warnings, to be quite honest, though we haven't had any of them to verify as of yet in our area. That's good. I mean, you don't want the damage to occur, obviously, but when you have your warnings come out, you have to take them seriously because the radar does show that potential for severe weather to be reaching down toward the surface. So that's why we're here with you. Again, we were talking about that marginal risk here potentially being issued last night. It happened here earlier today, and then we've seen these yellow boxes pop up indicating severe thunderstorm warnings. Even in our area, one red box popping up for a tornado warning. We said that was not a zero potential either, and that was for parts of areas there in toward Atkinson and Coffee County. So just something to kind of be watching. Right now we're down with Pierce and Ware counties here in our area with the worst of the activity. So we cover 62 counties, so a wide stretch here. You can look at that map of the covered area, cloudweather.com/live. It shows you the breakdown there. But again, still watching things. Nothing's overwhelming right now. We'll see if they keep the warning going. It's kind of been like this. I mean, you kind of have a lull, they drop the warning, and then things ramp back up, and you have a new warning. So just never know here. But we're still watching it here for you in the Weather Center. That's a lot of lightning that we're down with south of Dixie Union. So just if you're outside, remember whenever thunder roars, go indoors. That's very important in these type of circumstances. I mean, you don't want to be out when there's lightning. Granted, many people probably aren't out now because it is 11:15 at night. But for the people trying to be out still, remaining out, you just want to be staying inside because even if there's not damaging wind with this or any type of quick spin of tornado, that lightning can still be dangerous in and of itself. We're talking about those cloud to ground strikes. So just have to be watching out for those here in the covered area. Now, watching some of the other areas here, you see off toward North Central Florida, there is some rain here on the board. And let's go to the broad view, and I'm going to zoom back in because we get here toward North Central Florida. I'll zoom in. Of course, we're watching the forecast here for things like Bradford Homecoming Pep Rally tomorrow night, Tornado Whirl. Right now, I would lean toward things looking okay, but it's not a given here. Not a given in that we could end up having a situation here where we have some lingering moisture around, but the stronger storms to be out of the picture by then if we even get them to materialize in North Central Florida. Bigger threat maybe closer toward the coast there or toward the Gulf of Mexico here as we get further on down toward the south. But we're just going to have to wait and see on that. Excuse me, but we're getting the latest right now. They're keeping that warning going out of the Charleston office. It looks like more radar indicated wind up there at this point. You see that warning there southeast of Aldelia there. Not in our covered area, but the warning that is in our covered area does say the most predominant lightning here right now, closer toward Waycross. So that's something they're dealing with there in Ware County. I mean, other areas you don't see as much lightning here right off. Now, as you get toward Mississippi here and some of these areas, you see quite a bit of lightning there around the community of Shelby as we kind of go to that national perspective again. But we're just going to keep on watching things. You see areas there in southern Arkansas, some stronger storm actions. We're just getting word now from meteorologist Kip Ricker there at the National Weather Service in Jacksonville. They're going to extend this warning out, and they just have extended this warning out now until 11:45 for parts of Brantley, Pearson, Ware counties. They're saying that a warning is now going to be in place for Waycross east of Blackshear for wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. The storm has maintained intensity there with frequent lightning ongoing. That's a lot of lightning that we're dealing with, and that's a real good indicator of severity in some situations. Now, in others, not so much, but in this situation here, this time of year, I mean, that's a lot of lightning here, and something to kind of be mindful of. Excuse me, I apologize. I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit from time to time because we've been on for a while, but just trying to give you the latest information here. Just trying to give you the latest updates. As you see, areas are east of Waresboro and closer towards Sunnyside now. Getting into some of this action, so just have to be really watching things there. Even a little bit of interesting signatures in our correlation coefficient, but it's probably just the overall pattern here. Nothing to be too concerned with in terms of any type of like debris, but we always have to watch for that here in these situations to make sure we don't have a quick spin up on our hands. But no tornado possible tag right now. This new warning to 11:45 does go for Pierce County, southwestern Brantley County, and northern Ware County. At 11:17, a severe thunderstorm was located over Waycross, moving east at 35 miles an hour. Waycross was Blackshear, Boggy Bay, Jamestown, Pebble Hill, Bristol, Manor, Fort Mudge, and Dixie Union under this warning. So just watching the situation here carefully, watching things as they do progress on us here with the different radar echoes. So we're just seeing how everything does transpire here in this type of circumstance. So we just want to kind of see that geography. We want to see the radar on top of that here so you kind of know what's going on. Again, we wouldn't be on for this as much in the summertime because at that point you're kind of more used to it. But this time of year, it's more of a sudden type of thing here that you have to deal with. So you're not quite maybe as accustomed to it. What I mean by that, I mean, the summer is sudden as well. But what I mean by that, again, is it's not something that happens every day. It's something that's more rare in nature. So we're just going to go ahead and look at some of our other maps. Again, you see right on the edge of that marginal risk here that the Storm Production Center put out earlier on. We're doing that severe thunderstorm warning in play now until 11:45. That does include Waycross there in Ware County, all Waycross in this at this point. So that's kind of the storyline there. So a more populated area being impacted here as folks are traveling on in and traveling on out. I mean, it's not going to be that busy maybe at 11:20 at night, but still, there'll be some cars on the road for sure, and those cars definitely have to take heed to the incoming storminess that's moving on into the picture. So that's what we're dealing with at the present time. Still checking things here in the weather center. We're going to go ahead and zoom back on out. You see a little bit of lightning even toward Baker County, but nothing severe in nature right now. But just everybody on the safe, to be on the safe side, maybe with the exception of some of our far northwestern counties, but even them, because we have the other accent that's going to be dying as it comes on in. You may just want to have a ways to get warnings here in all 62 of our counties here, I would say. Just as a good way to kind of approach things here into the overnight hours. Have something that wakes you up, have multiple ways to be awakened here by any type of severe weather activity that does involve, especially a tornado warning, because that's when you have to take action immediately. And that threat is low, very low, but not zero here in our area. Already had a confirmed tornado toward Telfair County outside of the covered area as reported by the Weather Service a little while ago, based on some different indications and reporting coming in as well. So not what you want to hear, but we're watching this. We're waiting for the new updates here and just seeing how things evolve. We'll be back in about 5 more minutes with more information, so stay tuned, stay safe. Back with you here in the Weather Center at 11:27 now on this Wednesday. Still watching that severe thunderstorm warning action here. The one warning going to about 11:30 for parts of Pearson, we're in our area, but the new warning going to about 11:45 for parts there of Brantley, Pearson, Ware. So again, just have to continue to watch things, how they evolve and how they track here. We'll go to a zoomed in version of this map now, and you'll be able to see that lightning's persisting there right around Waycross right now. Pretty heavy, pretty impressive there. Just not wanting to be out in that action there for sure. You can kind of see all that electrical energy around. So just whenever thunder roars go indoors, obviously, even if there's not severe weather actually occurring, which lightning, the magnitude isn't technically rated on a severe type of scale or anything like that. I mean, still that electrical energy can be dangerous, can be indicative of pretty strong action around. I mean, the wind parameters don't look all that impressive in here, but they might be getting blocked a little bit. So just have to still be taking heat in here around Waycross. I mean, you don't want to be out in this for sure with these heavy downpours coming down at night. At night here. The reduced visibility. So again, just watching things here. Just tracking the overall pattern. I mean, the movement's east at 35 miles an hour. So again, we just want to make sure that everybody is getting that heads up here in the Weather Center. When we're doing this coverage, we want to let you know areas like Waycross, but not just Waycross there, but Blackshear, Boggy Bay, Jamestown, Pebble Hill, Bristol here, Manor, Fort Mudge, and Dixie Union are all under this new warning that was issued here just a little while ago. So again, I just have to be kind of watching this here as it does progress here in nature. I know we start to repeat ourselves from time to time because we've been on a while, but just trying to give you the latest updates here. Just try to give you the latest updates on what's happening as the situation does continue to evolve. I mean, different areas get impacted here, and you'll be able to see downstream we're dealing with maybe more of those being impacted over the next little bit. So again, the wind energy is shown here in the green, the lighter green. We're talking about winds about 40 miles an hour or so, according to the radar. But again, it could be other winds mixing. Our base velocity says more to the south. Could be all in here really mixing on down to the surface. And the question is if we're actually getting the winds at 60 miles an hour or not. We'll just have to kind of wait and see based on some different reporting and the type of damage we get, or if there is damage here from this area. Again, we haven't had a lot of these, any of these in our area technically verified so far, but that could always change here. Here's a warning here to 11:45. They just gave us a new update. Looking at power outages, there's a few toward, looks like Ware County, only 3 customers in the dark, but then Coffee County, 333 customers in the dark. Cook County, there are 11 customers in the dark. Clay County, 23 there in Georgia. So kind of get the idea. Zoom back out a little bit. I know we just got that new update from the Weather Service there at 11:30 in the box we'll be updating here for you here on the screen. But they see if I'm looking at over Blackshear there, moving east about 40 miles an hour, 60 mile an hour wind gust, and penny-sized hail are the biggest threats here toward the Blackshear area. So I just have to be cognizant of what's going on there as we get in a little bit tighter now. So again, just down with that there, right toward Blackshear there in Pierce County at the present time. Some pretty robust action here. Again, it's more about the wind potential than any type of hail threat that's emerging too much here on the scale. And then it's also about not really a tornado threat either, as we've kind of addressed here at this moment. At least we're not seeing a lot of rotation. There's no tornado possible tag like we've seen in some of these warnings here earlier on. Even we had that tornado warning earlier for parts of Atkinson and Coffee counties here, but we don't have that right now. But we'll just keep on watching the progression of things here, obviously, as they do that. So again, just tracking things now east at 40 miles an hour. That's kind of the latest speed here, so that kind of gives you an idea on when things could get further on over toward Brantley County and then maybe England County here as we look later on into toward the timeline. So we'll just continue to watch that here. We'll just continue to monitor the very latest information that we're getting on in here on this storminess. It's been a pretty busy day here at this point in the weather center. Again, looking here around Waycross, I mean, there's some wind energy. It's nothing that's really robust looking, but you just never know here. We can get down to the surface. I know we should be getting a report out of the Waycross site here over the next little bit. I know get some different reports here. You saw the temperatures come up just for a second. Make sure I take everything else off so we don't have anything too close. But you see 75 degrees there toward Waycross there. Areas to the northwest a little cooler, but we should have maybe some type of wind reading there pretty soon. So that'd be kind of interesting to see as we look at things, as we look at some of these different numbers here, and just watch the progression of things in that regard. So again, we're going to go ahead and zoom back on out now. You can kind of see here, just monitoring the situation. We're just trying to give you guys an idea on where the storms are. We have that warning up toward areas there further up in Georgia. That's a warning there further closer toward Glenville, Georgia. It's not in our covered area, but near Reedsville as well. Some of the worst the accident was just a little while ago, according to the National Weather Service there in Charleston. But again, watching things down toward the south at this point, and toward our covered area, and toward our 62 counties that we cover here. And we're just going to keep seeing how things hold together for Arizona and Nahana there. Excuse me, up into toward Brantley County. So, again, we're just watching the progression here of things. We're just trying to see how things evolve in the overall manner, whether they're more robust at times or less robust at times, as we get into towards some of these different communities. So, just trying to give you guys the very latest here. You can see, looking at some of our wind velocity information right now, and then we'll look at our ZDR product. You can kind of see here, not a lot of upscale growth right now. Maybe a little south of blacks here, but maybe that'll be a sign of some weakening here. That'd be some good news for everybody. The echo tops though upward of 40,000 feet and over that, exceeding that. So that's something to kind of keep in mind here. We just have to kind of see how that kind of evolves on us here over the next little bit. I'm going to check some different things behind the scenes right now as we continue along right now with this information. I mean, this information stream is something that's valuable for people in towards some of these areas. I mean, just kind of give you that detailed breakdown of how things are progressing here and transpiring. I just want to try to be there for you guys the best we can, at least. So, we're just going to continue to track things here with the latest updates and a new significant weather advisory coming out. Maybe, just maybe, we can hope that this is a sign that they're going to drop the warning here soon. But a significant weather advisory for parts, it looks like Abilene, Brantley, Camden, Glenn, Charlton, Ware, Pierce, Wayne, and other areas even. It looks like toward Charlton County as well. Now, the way they do this is kind of strange. They put the coastal and they mix things together a little bit. But different parts of Charlton County included under that significant weather advisory. So hopefully, with Brantley being in there in Camden, maybe they're going to go ahead and just go with that significant weather advisory and drop the severe thunderstorm warning at 11:45. We're getting closer to that benchmark now, so maybe there's not enough confidence in anything too severe here, too strong at this point is what I would call that. I mean, obviously anything that's severe would technically require a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued. So aerial flood advisory though for parts of Bacon, Pearson, Ware now to 245. Again, we have to watch out for those areas that can flood, those poor drainage areas I'm talking about. So again, we're just going to watch the progression of things over toward the east with this. Again, the latest movement we got was east at about 40 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust. The threat that makes things severe. Penny-size hail is under severe criteria. So that's the overall headline there. But you see our advisory, that's for 45 to 55-mile-an-hour winds there through about 12:15. That grayish, brownish looking box. So hopefully that's a good sign. And we'll get this warning dropped. We won't get an extension. I mean, they can go either way with those, but generally, seeing one of those would be a lean toward maybe not having a new severe thunderstorm warning being issued downstream. And in fact, they've just told us now they're expiring the severe thunderstorm warning here. Technically, I think it'll still go to 11:45, but Brantley, Pearson, Ware, they're expiring the warning, so that's what we want to hear. Let's say that. I know I'm starting to hear a little bit of rain outside here in north central Florida, so let's go to the other map. The other box will drop off here in just a second. Our system has it drop off as soon as it comes through, even if technically it may go to 11:45. It's in like a tornado warning where we need to stay on to 11:45 or anything like that, or closer to it at least, because it's a situation that we can use a little more discretion on. So we're going to wrap this up real soon. But it's dark here at Gainesville. You see some light to moderate rain, some heavier downpours though in spots there in Alachua County and Marion and in Baker County. There's some lightning swung up there, so hearing some rumbles of thunder. When I was in one of my breaks here a few minutes ago, I heard a rumble of thunder the first time here today toward Bradford County. So that's something we'll have to watch. We'll have more of this rain storminess coming to the picture as we look ahead toward that Thursday here earlier on, but hopefully the worst of that will be clearing on out as we get toward the afternoon and the evening. It'll be more pop-up in nature. So that's what we're down with. That's what we're tracking. A lot of rain, though, south central, southeast Georgia that we've been monitoring as well. We look at the 12-hour estimates here, and even southwest Georgia, obviously, getting even more of that in terms of that coverage of the precipitation. So kind of depends on where you are, though, because some spots missing out on it so far, but pretty good amount of rain up that way, so kind of intriguing to see as we watch these different areas get more rain. I mean, some of these areas can use the rain up there. I know some spots missing on out, but we'll just have to continue to see how things progress here. I'll be back if needed. But for now, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here in the Weather Center for your weather coverage on this Wednesday night. Of course, Facebook is a place for coverage there when we're on at Casey Cloud Reacts and at Cloud Weather. You have Twitter at Cloud Casey there for live coverage. Of course, you can watch on Twitch there, Meteorologist Casey Cloud, and then subscribe on YouTube. Watch there, Meteorologist Casey Cloud. You can even watch that on your Roku device, and then all the links available there for the live coverage, cloudweather.com. I linked at least to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch over there, so you can direct yourself to, and that'll direct you to some of the type of streaming platform that you would want there to watch the coverage on. I mean, some folks want to watch on one thing or another. That gives you all those different options. So that other warning expired out in toward Charleston jurisdiction there in southern Georgia, eastern Georgia as well. So no severe warnings right now, technically across the country, which is good to see. Had quite a few yellow boxes earlier on, but we'll be back if needed. Again, you have all those different methods to watch coverage, all those different video platforms there. But again, just thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me.